The war between humans and the Shailan Empire wasn't supposed to happen. At first, there were only warnings, missing patrols, broken treaties, strange signals from the outer stars. The humans called it a Cold War. The Shailan never called it anything at all. And then, the sky tore open above Colony Theta 5. Alien ships appeared. And they didn't ask questions. They attacked. Corporal Rhett Cade survived the first wave by sheer luck. He was a scout, not a hero. He carried a small rifle, wore light armor, and preferred quiet jobs like checking empty caves, not fighting space monsters. But war doesn't care what you prefer. Cade's unit was destroyed during the second week of the invasion. He was left behind during evacuation, stuck deep in the ruins of an old science station, with low power, low ammo, low hope. And then, something strange happened. He picked up a weak life signal from the lower levels, one that didn't match any human pattern. He thought it was a glitch, but he was wrong. The old lab was sealed shut, thick glass. Bioscanners offline. But through the foggy chamber, Cade saw her. Floating in the center of a stasis pod was a female alien, green-skinned, glowing slightly, long white hair flowing like silk in water. She wasn't like the other, Shailan. She looked asleep, peaceful, but powerful. She looked like a goddess caught in ice. Cade should have turned around, but he didn't. He stayed, watched, and after 4 hours of silence, her eyes opened, bright silver, unblinking, ancient. He raised his rifle in panic. She didn't move. Instead, she spoke directly into his mind. Her voice was calm. "Fear not. If I wished to kill you, you'd already be dust." He froze. "Well, what are you?" he whispered. "I was hidden here by your own kind. They feared me before they even understood me." Cade stared at her, unsure if she was real, or if isolation had finally broken his mind. But the systems began to unlock. The glass shimmered and slowly cracked open. Mist poured out. Her body lowered gently to the floor. She stood, taller than he expected. Slim, glowing veins on her arms. Wearing a black and teal bodysuit that shifted like living armor, Cade kept his weapon raised. She tilted her head. "You have passed the first test, human." "What test?" "You found me and didn't run." He lowered the gun, slowly. "Okay. So, now what? You kill me?" she smirked. "No. Now I show you why your kind has no idea what it's dealing with." The lights flickered. Energy swirled around her body. And then she whispered, "You've passed my test, human. Now witness my true form." Cade's heart raced. He didn't know what that meant, but he knew one thing for sure. This war had just gotten much more complicated. Corporal Rhett Cade stepped back, heart pounding. The alien woman in front of him stood tall, calm, glowing faintly. But now something was changing. The air around her shimmered like heat waves. Her skin pulsed with soft green. Light, her eyes closed, and then opened, no longer silver but burning white. Cade gripped his weapon tighter. "Is this some kind of trick?" he asked. She didn't answer. She lifted her hands, and the symbols on her bodysuit lit up in sequence. Her body began to float, just a few inches from the ground. He watched, frozen. Then it happened. Her skin rippled like water, not melting, shifting. The soft green glow became brighter, lines of glowing energy spreading across her body in shapes he didn't understand. Her fingers became longer, smoother. Her back shimmered. Two thin, light-like wings unfolded behind her, not made of bone or feathers, but pure energy. Even her voice changed. It echoed, one voice layered with many. "I am not what you were trained to shoot, human. I am older than your war. Older than your fear." Cade lowered his rifle without even realizing it. "You're not Shailan?" "I was once like them," she said. "But they changed, twisted. They worship power now." "And you?" She floated closer, her bare feet never touching the floor. I was hidden here by those who feared both sides. Humans. Shylin. Both wanted to use me as a weapon. Cade frowned. Then why show yourself now? She landed lightly. Because the galaxy is broken, she said. And you, human, surprised me. How? You didn't run, you didn't beg. You aimed your weapon, you stood your ground. She walked toward him. You faced something unknown. And you stayed. Cade swallowed. What now? She looked him directly in the eyes. I need your help. He blinked. I'm just a corporal, I don't command fleets, I don't even have a working radio. You have something better, she said. He raised an eyebrow. She smiled. You have a mind of your own. Suddenly, the floor trembled. Alarms flashed red across the old lab walls. A voice crackled through the broken intercom. Shylin scouts. Approaching. ETA 5 minutes. Cade cursed under his breath. They tracked me here. The alien woman's tone sharpened. Then we don't have time. She raised her hand, and the control panel behind him sparked to life. Maps, data, and encrypted files flashed across the screen. Files from both human and alien sources. These were left here by those who tried to hide me. Now they're yours. Cade stared. I can't make sense of this. You will, she said. But first you must get me out of here. He looked at the exit, then back at her. Are you coming quietly? I've been quiet for too long. Do I have a choice? She gave a playful smirk. You passed my test. You're already part of this, whether you like it or not. Cade sighed. Figures. He moved toward the door, rifle ready. She followed, silently, walking like someone who didn't fear death. Just before stepping out, he paused. One more thing, he said. She raised an eyebrow. What do I call you? She smiled softly. Lizera. The door slid open. Outside, wind roared across the metal platform. In the distance, the engines of approaching ships echoed through the dust. A human soldier and an ancient alien, walking side by side into a storm. One, with secrets, the other with nothing left to lose. The blast doors hissed open. Corporal Rhett Cade raised his rifle as the wind howled across the cracked landing platform outside the lab. The twin moons of the planet hung in the sky. One full, one fractured, and then he heard it. Engines fast close. He turned to Lizera, who stood calmly behind him, glowing faintly. We need to move. Now. She nodded. I can shield us, but not for long. Cade led the way, boots thudding across rusted metal. The path curved around the mountain station. His evac beacon was dead, but an old scout bike was still parked at the far edge, half buried in dust. It won't hold both of us, he muttered. It will, she said, already moving toward it. Behind them, a sharp screech cut through the wind. 3 Shylin scout ships descended from the clouds, sleek and black, scanning the area with glowing red sensors. Cade pulled Lizera down behind a metal crate. They're sweeping the station. We've got 30 seconds, maybe less. She placed a hand on the crate. Symbols glowed where her fingers touched. The crate melted silently into the platform, sinking like quicksand. Cade blinked. How'd you do that? She glanced at him. Do you want a science lecture or to survive? Fair. The first scout touched down near the lab entrance. 3 Shylin warriors stepped out, tall, armored, moving like predators. Their weapons pulsed with violet energy. Lizera's eyes narrowed. They smell me. Great. Let me guess. You used to be one of them? I was something more. Now I'm something they fear. The second ship circled and landed closer to the cliff edge, right next to Cade's only ride out. He cursed under his breath. Plan B? She stood. There is no plan B, she said. There's only forward. She stepped out from cover and raised her hands. The scouts spotted her instantly. One shouted in their guttural language, Target acquired, engage. They opened fire, but the blasts curved midair, bending around her body like they hit an invisible. Cade's jaw dropped. That's not human tech. No, she replied, it's older. With a wave of her hand, the ground beneath the nearest scout rippled, throwing him off balance. Cade didn't hesitate. He raised his rifle and fired. One shot. Clean. The second scout turned. Cade shot him too. The third raised his weapon, but Lizra moved faster, stepping forward and vanishing for half a second. When she reappeared, she was behind the soldier. One glowing strike to the neck. He dropped instantly. Cade ran to the bike, wiping dirt from the controls. Get on. Lizra climbed behind him without hesitation, arms wrapping around his chest lightly. He slammed the throttle. The bike roared to life and launched forward, wind tearing past them as they sped down the canyon road. Behind them, the third ship took off in pursuit. They're chasing us, Cade yelled. Lysera didn't answer. She simply leaned forward and whispered something in a language Cade didn't understand. Suddenly, the walls of the canyon began to shift. Not fall. Not crumble. They changed shape, folding inward like the terrain. Itself obeyed her. The ship clipped one of the rising ridges and spun out, crashing into the cliffs in a fiery burst. Cade stared at the explosion. That wasn't a shield. That was control. Lysera whispered softly. My true form isn't just for show. After 20 minutes, the bike finally rolled to a stop beneath an overhang. Safe, for now. Cade collapsed onto a rock, breathing hard. You're full of surprises. Lysera looked toward the distant smoke in the sky. And you haven't seen anything yet. He smirked. Should I be scared? She looked at him calmly. Yes. But then, her voice softened. And also curious. Because what comes next may change everything your people think they know. Cade stared at her, sweat still clinging to his skin. She wasn't just powerful. She was a mystery waiting to be unsealed. The small cave offered little protection, but it was enough for now. Corporal Rhett Cade sat near the flickering light of a heating stick, recharging his broken gear. His hands still trembled, not from the cold, but from everything he had seen. Lysera, the alien woman, stood at the edge of the cave. Her silver white hair glowed softly in the dark, her strange armor shifting like it was alive. She was calm. Too calm. Cade stared at her. You're not just a soldier. You're not just some sleeper agent. She turned slowly, her glowing eyes meeting his. No, she said. I'm a memory, a warning, and a weapon, once meant to end the galaxy. He didn't speak for a long moment. Then, what are you really? She sat down across from him, her face lit by the soft flame between them. Long ago, before humans reached the stars, before the Shylin ruled half the sectors, there was something else. A project, a secret alliance between early races. Cade leaned in. Alliance? Against what? Against what's coming back, she whispered. She raised one hand, and a small holographic cube formed above her palm, spinning slowly. Inside it, he saw flashes, a massive dark shape in space. Planets swallowed in fire, civilizations falling in seconds, and her, not in armor, not glowing, but barely alive, her body pulled from wreckage by unknown hands. I was one of the only ones who survived. They didn't want to destroy me. They wanted to use me, change me. Who are they? Cade asked. Some called them the architects. Some called them gods, but they weren't gods. They were creators who lost control of their own weapons. She looked up at him. I'm one of those weapons, but I chose to sleep instead of destroy. Cade shook his head. So why now? Why wake up now? She looked out at the night. Because someone found the signal. Your kind has been digging too deep. Someone woke up more than just me. More? Cade repeated. You mean there are others like you? She nodded slowly. And not all of them want peace. Silence fell again. The cave crackled with wind and distant thunder. Finally, Cade said, You said I passed your test. What was the test really? She looked at him with calm intensity. To see if humans had learned. If one human, just one, could act without fear, without hate, With reason, he scoffed. You're betting the future of the galaxy on me? Smiled faintly. No. I'm betting on what you'll choose to become. Suddenly her expression changed. Sharp. Alert. She stood. Cade tensed. What? Something's watching us. He raised his rifle. But then, he felt it too. A whisper in the wind. A low hum. Not sound. A presence. Lysra stepped outside the cave, her hand glowing softly. Cade followed, his heart racing. Then from the shadows, a figure emerged. It wasn't Shylin. It wasn't human. It was something else. Its body wrapped in shifting black metal, a mask of smooth obsidian over its face. Cade raised his weapon. What the hell is that? Lysra stepped forward. No. Her voice was hushed. That is one of them. The figure tilted its head. Then, in a voice like broken glass, it whispered, She has awakened. Terminate the witness. It raised a hand. Blinding light formed at its fingertips. Lysra grabbed Cade and threw up a shield of pure energy. The blast hit like thunder, and the cave behind them exploded into flame. They landed hard, Cade rolling across the dirt. His ears rang. Lysra stood tall again, eyes burning white. Cade gasped. What is that thing? She stared at the smoking crater. One of the architect's shadows. He blinked. So what now? She clenched her fists. Now, Corporal Cade. We fight. The smoke hadn't even cleared when the creature stepped forward from the fire. Its armor didn't melt. Its body didn't burn. It walked through the wreckage like a machine with a purpose. Corporal Rhett Cade stood, coughing, gripping his rifle. Lysra, what do we do? She didn't answer immediately. Her glowing eyes were locked on the shadowy figure. Finally, she said, If I fight it fully, I might not come back. Cade blinked. Come back from what? She glanced at him. From being human enough to care. The hunter raised one black hand. 5 glowing rings hovered around its wrist, each hummed with dark energy. Target designated rogue construct. Secondary target human contaminant. Cade raised his weapon, heart pounding. Let's see how you handle bullets, freak. He fired. The round struck the hunter's chest, but bent midair and fell. Lysra shouted, Don't waste your ammo. That armor was built to withstand starfire. Cade cursed under his breath. So what now? She stepped forward, placing herself between him and the hunter. I'll hold it off, she said calmly. You run. I'm not leaving you. You must. There are things in my mind, codes, coordinates, secrets, that your people need. Cade shook his head. You think I care about some secret tech? She turned, eyes fierce. You should. Because if it catches me, it'll extract what I know. And the architects will rise again. The hunter attacked. It moved faster than anything Cade had seen. One blur, one flash, and it was already above them. Lysra raised both arms, and a wall of emerald light slammed into the hunter, throwing it back. The ground shook from the force. Cade had never seen power like this. She wasn't using weapons. She was the weapon. But he also saw her knees buckle. Her energy flickered. She was weakening. Lysra, stop. You can't hold that thing off forever, she whispered. I don't have to. I just have to delay it long enough. Cade ran to her side. You're not doing this alone. She looked at him, eyes soft for just a second. You care too much, human. And you don't care enough. The hunter rose again, pieces of melted rock falling off its armor. It pointed a spear of black light toward Lysra's chest, and then Cade stepped in front of her. The beam struck his shoulder, sending him flying into the cliff wall. Pain exploded through him, but he didn't black out. He groaned. Still here, Lysra screamed. Something inside her snapped. The light around her exploded outward. Her hair lifted, her skin cracked with glowing lines. Her voice echoed, not in sound, but in thought. You will not take what is mine. She floated into the air, her form blazing like a second sun. The hunter charged, and for the first time it hesitated. When they collided, the shockwave tore the ground in half. Cade shielded his eyes. He could barely see them, locked in midair, trading light for shadow, blow for blow. Every strike shook the canyon, every moment. Lysra burned brighter and dimmer, as if fighting cost her not just energy but pieces of herself. Then suddenly, silence. The hunter fell, its body shattered, its armor crumbled, its mask cracked. Lysra collapsed to the ground beside it, barely breathing. Cade limped to her. Hey, stay with me." Her voice was weak. "I used too much. Burned my core." He grabbed her hand. "No, you saved me. You saved us both. You don't get to die now." She looked at him, eyes dim but steady. "I'm not dying. I just need time to recover." He laughed, tears burning behind his eyes. "You scared the hell out of me." She smiled faintly. "You humans are always scared, but you're still brave." Cade looked down at the hunter's broken body. What was it really? Her voice was soft. "Just one scout." His blood ran cold. "One?" She nodded. "And worse ones are waking up." The stars above blinked in silence. A human and a half-broken alien weapon, sitting in the dust of a battlefield, and far above them, something else had started to notice. The wind howled through the canyon long after the battle ended. Corporal Rhett Cade sat beside Lysra, her back resting against a rock, her breathing slow but steady. Her glow had faded. Her skin was cold to the touch. "You're not dying, right?" Cade asked again. Lysra gave him a tired smile. "Not yet. I just need energy." Cade stood and looked toward the sky. "If I can get to a comms tower, I can send a signal to Earth. Someone has to know what we're up against." Lysra nodded. "But be careful. If you send the signal, others might hear it too. And not all of them are friendly." They moved slowly through the broken ridges until they reached a collapsed outpost. A rusted satellite dish still stood on top of a jagged hill. It was old but intact. Cade climbed up and started working with the panel. Come on," he muttered, connecting power from his suit. A weak light blinked. "System online." He grinned. "Yes." Lysra remained below, watching the horizon. "Hurry, I feel movement underground." Cade sent the message, a coded warning to all nearby human stations. Architect tech active, non-human allies identified, enemy awakening, request evac and reinforcements. He hit send. But then, something strange happened. The screen flickered, a new signal appeared. Unknown language. No coordinates, just one sentence. Translated by the system automatically. "You are not the only ones watching." Cade backed away. "What the hell?" Lysra floated up beside him. She stared at the signal. Her voice dropped. "They heard us." "Who?" She looked at him slowly. "The ones that made me. The real architects, not shadows, not scouts." He swallowed. "So that thing we fought was nothing compared to what's coming." Suddenly the sky dimmed, not from clouds, from a ship. A giant vessel, black as space itself, emerged from low orbit, completely silent, moving like a ghost. Cade's mouth dropped open. That's not a Shailan ship." Lysra's glow returned slightly, as if her instincts kicked in. "No, it's worse. It's a collector." "What does that mean?" Cade asked. Lysra's tone was cold. "It means they're not here to talk. They're here to erase anything they missed the first time." The ship hovered, a strange pulse rippled from it, no sound, just pressure. The rocks around them cracked. Trees wilted. Then from the underbelly of the ship something dropped. Not a bomb. A pod. It landed in the dust below the hill, opening like a flower made of metal. From it stepped a figure. Not machine, not alien. A perfect copy of Lysra. Cade stared in shock. What is that?" Lysra's voice was filled with dread. "A failsafe. A copy of me. but one that never hesitated to destroy. Pure architect programming. The copy looked up at them, expressionless. Target. Rogue unit detected. Human contamination confirmed. Termination protocol active. Cade raised his rifle. Lizera touched his arm. No, this fight is mine. He turned to her. You're still weak. She looked him in the eyes. I don't need full strength to win. I just need to remember who I am. And as she rose into the air once more, her body began to shine again. Not just with energy, but with purpose. She wasn't just a weapon. She was a soul who had chosen her own path, and she was about to face the darkest version of herself. The air between the two Lyceras shimmered with power. One glowed with emerald light, eyes full of life, will, and pain. The other stood perfectly still, cold, emotionless, wrapped in flawless silver armor. The architect copied. Corporal Rhett Cade stood back, watching helplessly. His own weapon felt useless here. He wasn't facing soldiers anymore. He was watching two gods get ready to fight. The copy spoke first. You've broken your programming. You've chosen weakness, real Lysera replied softly. No, I chose humanity. The copy raised a hand, and the sky behind her cracked with a deafening boom. The massive collector ship started to glow, powering up. Cade yelled, Lysera, if that ship fires, we're all dust. I know, she whispered. That's why I have to stop this now. The architect copy moved first. She shot forward like lightning, blades of pure light forming from her hands. Lysera blocked with a glowing shield, barely. They crashed in midair, energy pulsing in every direction. The ground split below them. Cade fell to his knees, shielding his eyes from the blinding light. He could hear their voices as they clashed. You were made to destroy. No, I was made to choose. Choice is chaos. And yet it brought me here. To him. At that, the copy hesitated. Just a second. But it was enough. Lysera's hands glowed as she pulled power from the world around her. Air, earth, sky. Her light pulsed like a star being born. Then, she touched her twin. You are part of me, but I am no longer yours. There was no explosion, just silence. The copy's body froze, then cracked, then dissolved into dust. Gently, like sand in the wind. The collector ship began to react, its core charging faster. Cade stood up. It's still going to fire. Lysera floated to the center of the battlefield. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever before. She looked at Cade and smiled. Now, witness my true form. He stepped forward, confused. What do you mean? She whispered. I wasn't just hiding from them. I was holding something back. She rose high into the air. Wings of energy spread from her back, vast, glowing, ancient. Symbols circled her body, languages older than stars. And then, she became light. A beam shot from her into the sky, straight at the collector ship. It pierced the ship like a sword through glass. And the ship simply vanished. No explosion, no wreck, just silence. Lysera fell from the sky. Cade ran, caught her in his arms. She was pale. Her glow was fading. No, don't do this. Stay with me, he begged. Her fingers touched his face. I chose you, Rhett, not because I had to, but because I saw something good. He held her tightly, but her body was becoming weightless. Energy. Light. Tears filled his eyes. Thank you for reminding me I was more than a weapon. And then, like a star flickering, out! She was gone. Weeks later, Cade stood before the council. He gave them the data. He told them the truth, and they didn't believe half of it. But he didn't care, because somewhere, in the vast quiet of the stars, he knew she was still out there, maybe watching, maybe waiting, or maybe just free.